Moving on to agenda item number 6, approval of board policies and objectives. There are 2 of them. The first was procurement, which is the one that I think that Trustee Anderson has some good comments to make before the meeting. These are both first readings. The second was the International Education Resolution. No action is required. These are both just first readings. So if there are any additional comments that need to be made, please bring them to the attention of the administration.
On the 5,000 to 25,000 purchases, and I mean, everything's fine. It's just that when it says, when practical, preference shall be given to businesses and firms located within the boundaries of the college district, I'm a little uncomfortable with that. I would like to hear something more in the tune of keep that language in there, but talk about price and quality being major considerations also. You know, we're representing the taxpayers, and it's nice to keep the money local, but it's also, we have to get the best value for our dollars. And I think our taxpayers recognize that, and recognize that we have a history of doing that, and that's something that we should maintain, and people should know that we're here for the taxpayers. That's it.
All right, I have a comment on this, and I read the materials where you said that the fitting requirement that a performance bond be submitted was onerous for some prospective contractors or providers.
Smaller businesses.
Yes, on the other hand, then, we also took out, but I still have a problem with that. I mean, I still think that we need to have people furnish a bond. I mean, I think that means that that's a serious bidder, and so I'm uncomfortable with taking that requirement out altogether, as well as the other deletion that's on here, that taking out that all contractors are going to provide a certificate of insurance. I mean, where the college is named as an initial insured. And I'm guessing you're going to put that into the contracts when you eventually work with someone, but to take it out of our requirements, to say that it's not our policy that contractors are going to provide a certificate of insurance, I think is sending the wrong message. And to say that they're not going to be any performance bond required, and totally leave that out, I think that's also sending the wrong message. So I'm having trouble with deleting all that language.
We'll work with our attorneys on that, on the language, both of these suggested changes. We'll email that out to you in about a week or two, and so you'll have plenty of time before the board meeting.
Isn't the performance bond issue to some extent discretionary in terms of, does it have to be set at that amount, or do you have any discretion to?
The state law had prescribed that that bid bond be at 10%, regardless of the project, even small projects. So that's why they had eliminated that provision. We had not intended to send a message that we were not going to have bid bonds or insurance, but I can see how this reads that way. We're still going to have them on every project, just at the discretion of the director of purchasing, that she would determine if the contract is small enough to have lower than a 10%.
Okay, I can understand that, but what you're doing here is asking us to adopt a policy. And what you're doing with this policy is taking out all requirements for a bond and all requirements for a certificate of insurance. I don't think that's a good policy for the college to have. If you want to take the amount of the bond down from 10%, that's okay. If you want to say it would be a reasonable bond, I think that's okay. But as far as a college policy, I don't think we want to eliminate the need for a certificate of insurance, naming the college as an additional insured. And I also don't think we want to eliminate the idea that there's going to be a performance bond. You could just make these in, say they're in a reasonable amount or something like that. But to take out all the language is like throwing the baby out with the bathwater. You know, I think there's too much deleted here.
So when we look at it, the first reading, we'll take that in, talk with the legal counsel. And like I say, we'll get you some language options.
Can we get the lights back on, please?
Oh,
I have a question for you, David. What is the percentage of women and minorities as far as employees for the college, approximately?
I don't know the number.
just,
Is it fair to say it's 50%?
no, in terms of the population of this, I do know this, in terms of employee groups, we're we're fairly well represented through most of the ranks in African American. When it comes to Hispanics, we're underrepresented in most of the employee groups, although actually that's getting, if you want to call underrepresented or represented a reflection of the student body or the county makeup, looking at those. So we actually have a report on that we can show you that shows every employee group, where we are with each of them in terms of that.
For women
But-
and minorities, is my question.
Yeah, the two, we can get you.
Is that related to the
I asked that
policy?
question.
Yeah,
I asked that question because in reading in the procurement, where you're talking about minority and women business enterprises and our support thereof, I thought that the wording sounds quite soft and really lacks commitment. So I think that whereas women is a very large part of the college here as far as employee groups and student population, that we should have a little bit more commitment to the minority and women-owned enterprises who would like to do business with the college.
okay.
That's just my comment.
We'll look at the language on that also.
Madam
And
Chairman,
we'll
may I-
share.
Yes.
I ask Dave Gacy a question, please. In the last 10 years, would you know how many times we've ever had to go after a performance bond or insurance because of a bidder that didn't perform?
I know we haven't in the last 4 years that I've been here, but
Could you probably bring that up to us for, let's say, the last 10 years? We'll take it through good times and bad times and just see if this is an issue that is worth pursuing.
Anything else? Move on to item 7. Resolution authorizing budget transfers and accepting the monthly financial report. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Ms. Teague. Ms. Howland.
Aye.
Ms. Goldschlager. Aye. Ms. Paul. Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson.
Aye.
Dr. Kerrigan.
Aye.
Ms. Starkarian.
Aye.
Dr. Griffin.
Aye.
Agenda item 8, approval of purchasing. We have 8.1 biddable items, 8.2 non-biddable items, and 8.3 worthless and obsolete equipment disposal. If you take a look, the biddable items both came in at or on budget, under or on budget, and both are local. So we're going for local businesses here, both are Waukegan. I'd like a motion to take all 3 of those. Excuse me?
Just these two.
Just the first 2,
Yeah, there's an asterisk.
purchasing.
Yeah, there are any none.
8.1 and 8.2. Oh,
It's 8-1.
oh, there are no non-bidables, I'm
It's
sorry.
8-1 and
8-1,
8-3.
There's 8.1, 8.2, and 8.3. No, 8.2, 8.1, because I'm reading 8.1.1,
8-1 and 8-3.
yeah, and 8.2. All right, thank you. Have a motion for those, please?
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, on the 8.1, the low bid was not given the award because of the bid bond. If this new policy that we just discussed were in place, would we have been able to award this bid to the lowest bidder?
no, in fact, it wasn't even a bid bond. It was a personal financial guarantee. And it doesn't rise to the same level as what a pond is. And the specifications are very clear. So it was rejected at how they.
Thank you. And then also on the disposal of the worthless and obsolete equipment, might I suggest that geology rock samples, can we dispose of them, I guess, in a more formal, documented manner so that we don't have any future issues with this one?
Yeah, they were disposed of in a proper fashion.
Well, I'm saying, I'm sure they were disposed of in the proper fashion. What I'm concerned about is that we have it documentable so that there are no future issues regarding the rock sample.
It has been documented, very carefully inventoried, identified.
And that then leads me to, how could that have happened already if we haven't approved it yet? How could this have happened if we haven't approved this? This is not the first time.
Isn't that part of a discussion several board meetings ago when we were talking about the issue of the geology lab and how things were going to be recorded and then disposed of? And I thought the board had already agreed with that.
There's no vote on that. There was no vote on that. Yeah, and it was closed session.
Well, you're taking, help me out here, Counselor, but they're taking action here to approve the disposal, but the process has been shared and discussed.
I understand, and I'm not sure what the status of it is, whether they've actually been disposed of at this point or not. But it was part of a plan for handling the geology collection.
Right.
I don't know whether they've been disposed of at this point or not. I know that they were looking at a contract or a way of going ahead and disposing of them. I don't know the status of it.
It says here in the agenda item, the administration will sell or dispose of these items on a date to be determined. I mean, it talks about this in the future. So I'm thinking that we're assuming that what this says is true, right?
That they will be disposed of but have not been yet.
Yeah. I mean, that's what this says.
Yeah, well, I can't answer. To be honest, I don't know. They've been cleaned out of the prep room area. Whether or not they've been disposed of at this point, I do not know.
And I know that they've been identified.
And that was so the lab could be used again for instruction.
Well, let me just, again, go on record, because I know this is not the first time that this has happened, where we're being asked to approve something after the fact, and I have to object to the continuation of these types of items coming to us.
Well, I think we ought to be able to get an answer to the question
Right, can we
Yeah.
find
of
out?
whether it's prospective or not. Because, I mean, if it's not prospective, then we should be asked to ratify the action that you've taken. And that's not what it says here. It says here that we're going to approve what is going to happen in the future. So we need to get this presented to us in a factual manner.
Right, and when the question was just asked, we were certainly just told at the table that we've already gotten rid of them. And then we said, well, no, we didn't. So either way, all I'm saying, if something's coming to the board that we have to approve of, I don't want to be approving it after the fact. I don't care if it's rocks or if it's toilet paper or whatever. If we're approving of something, it cannot have happened prior to our approval. Thank you.
I have to say that I misspoke. I am not sure what the status of those are. I do know that they're inventoried. I do know that arrangements were made for removing them. I don't actually know the status of
Well,
those.
we should get an update in terms of what's going on with that because of all the other issues involved. So
Absolutely.
David, you know?
Not for certain off the top of my head. I do know that the board in closed session was made aware of hazardous materials, which we would, to the quite frankly would address immediately. I do know that the geology department has been working very hard on a process for cataloging after we did our independent analysis, and then I don't know if they've reached the disposal point yet.
And in fact, they have reached the disposal point, except for the hazardous.
But we did secure the
And this is asking, it says here, it's recommended the board of trustees review the disposal. So we're asking, this is your review. Give us approval to do it.
Yes, 30 days prior to disposal.
We'll find their status.
Other discussion? So we have 8.1 and 8.3, roll call please.
Well, is the geology rock still part of 8.3?
It's done, and
We
it's
can-
unless you amend it.
It is unless you amend the motion.
Who made the motion?
Who made the motion?
Okay, so I'm kind of confused how to say that then, that covers what we're talking about. Because I'm thinking from the language that we see here on what we're presented, it all looks prospective. But I guess you're saying the hazardous part of the geology rocks have already been disposed of and were to approve
They've left the
formally,
campus.
right?
My understanding is they've left it.
But other than that, that everything else is prospective.
I don't understand it all.
Yes.
Yeah, I see, I'm trying to see.
I really don't know what to put down.
Okay.
You want to just eliminate that
All right,
whole
I
geology
think-
collection, or
Well, because it's
8.3 minus the geology rock.
all of them.
Until we have further information from,
Yeah, the point I was trying to make, I don't care if we get rid of them, just make sure that we have something documented that says we got rid of them so that it doesn't come back to haunt us.
Okay. So
well, that's what you're doing.
So Trustee Oschlager, are you okay with this remaining in here with the strictures you've kind of put in?
Only if we have something that
Okay.
documents that we're getting rid of it in a proper manner. Otherwise, no.
Okay.
Probably be easier just to pull this one piece and then, fine, if we do, then just bring it back to us next month.
Okay, we'll do that.
okay, so just pulling the geology collection, the amendment.
Amend the motion to eliminate the
Counselor.
geology. Okay.
Okay, who seconded?
That would have been Linda Paul.
Do you accept the amended motion as a second?
I accept it, yeah, I'm not, it's not even worth.
Okay. Then roll call, please.
Ms. Teaday.
I abstained.
Ms. Howland.
Aye.
Mrs. Oschlager. Aye. Ms. Paul. Mr. Anderson.
Aye.
Dr. Kerrigan.
Aye.
Ms. Kashgarian. Dr. Griffin.
Aye.
Moving on to agenda item 9, authorization to extend lease of college facilities to Lake County. May I have a motion, please? Second? Discussion? Roll call?
Ms. Teaday. Aye. Ms. Howland.
Aye.
Mrs. Oschlager.
Aye.
Ms. Paul. Mr. Anderson.
Aye.
Dr. Kerrigan.
Aye.
Ms. Kashgarian. Dr. Griffin.
Aye.